You water it on schedule. You make sure it gets the exact right amount of sunlight. You even buy the premium, expensive fertilizer at the garden center. And somehow, your plants still look like they are slowly giving up. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You probably aren't failing the plant. The care routine is fine. The real point of failure is the lifeless dirt the plant is sitting in. This diagram shows what we mean by bad soil, which typically falls into 3 distinct categories. On the left, it's too compact, literally suffocating the roots. In the middle, it's too sandy, so water drains right through before the plant can drink. Or on the right, it's heavy with clay, trapping a stagnant puddle on top that drowns everything underneath. Standard gardening advice usually leads beginners into a trap. They see yellowing leaves or stunted growth and try to treat those visible symptoms with chemicals or extra watering, ignoring the systemic failure happening beneath the surface. But there is a reliable way to fix this, and it doesn't involve expensive chemical treatments. Experienced growers rely on crowdsourced no-dig methods to reconstruct their soil into a living ecosystem, layer by layer, starting from the top. Let's start at the very top, where the earth meets the atmosphere. If you leave dirt uncovered, one of 2 things will happen. Direct sunlight will bake it, evaporating its moisture almost immediately. Or a heavy rainstorm will hit it, eroding the top layer and collapsing the dirt into a muddy mess. The first line of defense is creating a physical shield. You can do this by applying a thick layer of mulch, like wood chips or straw, or by planting an off-season cover crop, like clover, directly over the bare ground. It traps moisture in the ground, blocking rapid evaporation from the sun. It physically catches heavy raindrops to prevent erosion, and as those materials decay, they add nitrogen back. Stabilizing this top boundary isn't optional. Protecting the surface layer is the mandatory prerequisite. You cannot heal the deeper soil until you've stopped the degradation at the top. Once the surface is protected, we can move just beneath it. This is the active biological zone, where organic matter actually breaks down and goes to work. This is also where beginners follow their worst instinct. When faced with hard dirt, the immediate reaction is to grab a shovel and aggressively dig, turn, and till the soil to loosen it up. Look at this microscopic view of undisturbed earth. Healthy soil is held together by delicate fungal networks and microscopic ecosystems. Tilling shatters those structures, destroying the natural architecture that holds the soil together. Instead of tearing the ground apart, no-dig gardening takes a passive approach. You simply pile kitchen scraps, shredded cardboard, and leaf litter directly on the surface and let nature pull it downward. This flowchart illustrates why that passive method works. Raw compost does not feed your plants directly. Instead, the rotting organic matter feeds a microscopic workforce of bacteria and fungi. Those microbes digest the waste, and they output specific nutrient molecules that the plant roots can actually absorb. Without that microscopic engine breaking things down, those nutrients stay locked up. If you don't preserve and feed the microbial life in your dirt, adding raw compost won't do your plants any good. Now we descend into the deep structural foundation of the soil. This is where we confront the ultimate headache: earth that is rock hard, heavily compacted, and dense with clay. This diagram shows what happens when you introduce a mineral called gypsum. Gypsum chemically interacts with the soil, and it forces those tight hexagonal clay structures to separate and loosen. This creates microscopic vertical channels, finally allowing trapped water and air to flow freely. Once that structure is loosened, you introduce a biological workforce to capitalize on the new space. Many experienced growers deliberately add live worms directly into the environment. These worms act like a tireless subterranean crew. They physically aerate the deep layers by constantly tunneling through them, widening the pathways and depositing highly fertile castings throughout the entire lower matrix. Combining a mineral treatment with a biological workforce addresses compaction from 2 different angles. It changes the soil's structure and maintains it over time, without the need for manual tilling. Pulling back to look at this entire top-to-bottom ecosystem, there is one harsh reality about this method that the internet often ignores. Biological soil building is not fast. Unlike pouring a bottle of synthetic liquid fertilizer onto your plants, you will not see an overnight transformation. This graph of time versus soil health shows how the process actually behaves. It operates on compounding natural interest. Small additions of organic matter keep the curve flat at first, But over months, microbial life multiplies, resulting in exponentially better moisture and deeper root networks. To see these results, you have to look past the plant itself. Instead of staring at the yellowing leaves of a struggling plant, look at the ground beneath it. Ask what the living soil ecosystem requires to thrive. When that foundation is functional, you've removed the primary barrier to growth, making every other part of your gardening routine significantly more effective. Of course, poor soil is just one hurdle. If you want to know what else trips up new growers, click the next video to see the biggest mistakes beginners make in the garden and exactly how to avoid them.